Hi, I'm Tamsin and this is Nero. Together we are Sprite Yoga. No, just I'm Sprite Yoga, but Nero does like to get on my mat whenever he can. So today we're going to do a practice that's aimed for young people. So something that you can do at home whilst we're on lockdown and we're feeling and maybe we're not able to look after ourselves quite so well as we would like to. You might think that yoga is something that other people do, maybe your mum or someone who wears leggings the whole time. But I want you to feel that it's something that can be accessible when you're a teenager. Maybe you want to do this with your mum, maybe you want to do it with somebody else in your home. Perhaps put some music on. It doesn't need to be a serious practice. Find your favourite track, have some music on and give this a go. So we're going to move and breathe, and we're going to think about how when we do that we hopefully tune into ourselves and our emotions a little bit more. Hopefully that we can regulate our emotions. This dog is now sitting on my knee and he's going to put his nose right into the camera. I'll try and move him out of the way and find my way to the mat. Okay, Nero, you have to move now. Okay, so here I am on my mat. You don't need a mat, you can do this just on your bedroom floor. My carpet's a bit slippery, so I'm going to use this today. But all the poses we're doing today you can just do in your bedroom, and they're all going to be floor-based. We're going to be sitting or lying. We're not going to be doing anything that's too energetic. So we're going to think about the spine and how it's made up of vertebrae stacked one on top of the other. And we don't want to be collapsing. We want to try and lengthen our spine. That will help your blood flow to your brain, so you can then concentrate a little bit better maybe if you've got schoolwork to do today. So we're going to think about lengthening up from the crown of the head and dropping the chin a little bit down. And then breathe through your nose. So without changing very much about the breath, just breathe through your nose. Notice how your body moves as you breathe in, and maybe your shoulders come up a little bit. And when you breathe out, they sink back down. And allow that to happen. Breathing in, think about getting taller towards the ceiling. And breathing out, settle back down. And we're going to think about how the spine moves in different directions. So first of all, sideways. So keeping your base, both sides of your bum, down on the floor. Take a little lean over to the side. Just press into the floor with your hand and take a little side bend. You might release your neck. You can move your head from side to side. And stretch all down that side, all down the side ribs and all the side of your belly, getting lengthened, and then come back to the middle and take that on the other side. So in yoga we have symmetrical poses and asymmetrical poses. So clearly this is asymmetrical, so if we do it on one side we've got to do it on the other, and try and spend as long on one side as you do on the other. It can be tempting to rush the second side. So there's our side bending action. Lateral flexion, if you want the biological or anatomical term. Getting your spine moving from side to side. So a lot of us, me included, are spending a little bit too much time on devices and maybe sitting and watching TV, and that's not great for our backs and for our necks and for our circulation. So hand on your knee and then hand behind you, and you can use those points as little anchors, and then you can take a turn. So now your spine is rotating. Just think about what's happening in your back, and then come back to the middle. And we can take the hand to the opposite knee and take a little twist the other way. So I've just got my legs in a cross-legged position. If that's not comfortable, you could do this with your feet together here. If you were cross-legged, just cross them the other way now so we don't get set into a pattern. And then we're going to think about the back coming forward. So just drop your chin down and then roll down through your back and see whether you might get your elbows down onto the floor. And let your head drop. And again, come back to that idea that when you breathe in, you rise up a little bit. And actually you expand in every direction. And when you breathe out, you you settle down and gravity takes you a bit more into the floor. Do that one more time. Breathe into your nose, through your nose. And then breathe out through your mouth. And let go of something. So you might find some muscles that were a bit tight, and when you can use your out breath to just think about softening and releasing anywhere that you feel a bit tight. We're going to take one of our legs out to the side, and the other one, the heel, is at your midline, so opposite where your belly button is, and this one's sticking out to the side. Doesn't need to be massively wide, just so that the back of the knee comes to the floor and the toes poke up. And then see if you might reach down towards your toe. That might not feel that accessible. I've got quite long arms. We're going to see if we can reach down towards your toe and just take a little bit of a side bend this way over your legs. So starting to stretch out the backs of the legs a little bit. And then come back up. We'll take the other one. So bring your feet back to the middle. Find that central place. And then take the other leg out to the side. Toes are on top, knee is on top. And reach down towards your toes and maybe a little bit further and just stretch over here. So this practice might be a nice thing to do when you first wake up in the morning to kind of ease your body out, get yourself into action. Or it might be something that you do before you go to bed. It's actually really good to lengthen the body, to ease things out, to get the circulation kind of moving before you rest, before you get to sleep. Might help you to get to sleep, just to tune into your body and your breath and how you're feeling. So this pose here is called cobbler's pose. So cobblers, when we didn't throw everything away, would mend shoes. So this is a cobbler. You're looking at your feet. You're letting your legs go out side to side. So this is a symmetrical pose. You sit up nice and tall through the middle. Think of that long spine and the back of your head reaching up and your chin slightly tucked. Take a long breath here. Cobbler's pose. And breathe out. And we're going to bring ourselves onto our backs. So we're lying down already. You're going to bring yourself down and let your hands be on your belly for a moment. And we're going to think now about how we might direct the breath. So when we're anxious and we're stressed, we tend to breathe really high into the chest, so like we're shocked. So to try and make ourselves relax, we can direct the breath down and allow your diaphragm to be the thing that is allowing the air into the body rather than the shoulders coming up at the top of your lungs. You're thinking about extending downwards, and then your belly has to move out of the way. So if you can put your hands on your belly, you can feel that happen. So try to breathe low into the body. So breathe in and allow your belly to balloon up, and then breathe out and it should hollow back out. And do that again. Breathe in and let your belly expand, and breathe out and let your belly hollow out. One more of those. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. I should do this one. We're going to do some lying down poses and stretch out the legs and the hips a little bit. So pick up one of your knees and take it around in a circle, round and round, and finding that hip joint, getting that moving, and the other way. Now this is a particular favourite of mine. This is a really nice stretch for your hip and your outer side of your leg and your lower back. You put your ankle across your knee and push this knee away, and then there's a little triangle formed here. You can put your hand through it and hold on to the back of your leg, and then just rock a little bit from side to side. So drawing that knee closer to the body will make more of a stretch on the other leg. And then put that foot back down on the floor. We're going to push onto this foot just to get a bit of stability. So you can lift your hips up whilst your ankle rests on your knee. And then come back down again. Do that 2 or 3 times. Lift up. A little bit of strength in the foot and leg that is on the floor. Lift up and come back down. And then bring your knee to your chest and draw it in and send the other leg long away from you. So this is called wind releasing posture. It's good for your digestion. Draw that knee in nice and close. So you're squeezing one of your hips your body. So you've got a compressed joint here, lifting this up, but then lengthening this one down. Bring your foot to the floor and bring the other foot to the floor, and then press both hands, both feet, and lift up. This is called bridge. Because we've stretched out this side, just notice if it feels different on your right leg and your left leg. Start to notice things about your body, and that you can change how you're feeling physically and how you're feeling emotionally by the things you do. So that's what yoga's about for me, is having that ability to shift not just your physical state, but also your mental state, just by moving and breathing. It's not magic, it's biology, it's how we're built. We're made to move, and if we don't move, we don't feel great. So bring your ankle now across your knee, and we'll do this stretch on this side. Ankle across your knee, tease your knee away. Bring your hands underneath this thigh, draw it in, and have a little wriggle around. And then bring this foot back down, and we're going to press up. We went up and down a few times to just strengthen the leg. We'll put the standing leg, it's like you're standing down into the floor through this right side now for me. And then come down. Bring the knee up towards the chest, and now this is the one that's squeezing towards your body, and then see if you can lengthen the other leg out underneath you. Try and keep both sides of your pelvis down on the floor as you do that. And take a big breath in and a big breath out. Plant your feet down onto the floor, and we'll come up into that bridge, and hopefully you're a bit more even now, because we've done it on both sides. So you should then feel a little bit more even, right side and left side, and you might come up a little bit higher. You might even be able to find your hands behind your back and interlink your fingers and push them down and roll all the way up and stretch your belly up towards the ceiling. I can't talk when I'm like this. Come back down into the floor. You can imagine our legs like windscreen wipers. Put your feet a little bit wider than your body. If you've got a mat, then they'll be on the edges. And then put your hands out to the side and let your legs literally swing from side to side. Just let them fall over. So they come through the middle, and then you rock down. You might just be on your heels, so you can feel the weight shifting across your heels. Or you might put your whole foot down and go all the way across the base of your foot. And then screw yourself up into a tight ball and lift your head out as well. Squeeze everything in. And we're going to roll up to sit. So from this little ball, you can press your hands into the floor, squeeze your legs up towards you, and see if you can roll up, come up to sit. So this is the only bit of effort really, but this is a good pose to make us feel a bit more determined. We're going to do boat pose. Lift your feet so that your shins are the same as the floor, parallel to the floor, horizontal. And then you can reach your hands out in front of you. My shoulders are a bit further back than my hips. My feet are up. I'm stretching out. I'm going to try and breathe here. And feel that determination to stay there. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Cross your legs, put your feet down. You can try pushing down in your hands, see if you can lift your bum off. Levitating. Then sit down. We'll do one more of those boat poses. Lift your feet, lift your hands, breathe in, breathe out. Cross your feet the other way. Press down with your hands just in front of your hips. Nod your head a little bit forward and pick your bottom off, and then come back down. Great. We're going to spin ourselves around. We're not going to stand up at all in this practice. We're going to stay down. So we're going to bring ourselves onto our hands and knees. And this you may have seen or done is a cat and a cow. So a lot of yoga poses have names that associate with animals. So the cat is like an angry cat. You round your back. So we're emphasising the use of the back today, because I think keeping a healthy back is really important. And as I've said, in lockdown, Maybe we're not looking after our back so well, we're slumped in chairs or we're on our devices and we're not moving our backs around as much as we might normally. So this one is a cow. When you come through this way, your chin lifts, your belly drops, and you flick your tail up. Cows have kind of big square bottoms, so you're going to round up and then you're going to arch through. And we can coordinate breath and movement here. So this is an out breath. It's like you're pressing the air out of the body. Breathe out. And then as you come forward and drop your rib cage through, breathe in. And notice what it feels like to breathe and move in that rhythm. Your breath controls how fast you do the movement, or how fast you do the movement controls how fast or slow you're breathing. So try and slow it down. See how slowly you can move and use the whole of the breath to make the movement. All the way through. Obviously I can't really do the movement. And breath and speak. Then bring yourself to a neutral spine. You're going to bring your toes together and your knees out a little bit and sit back into your heels. And just bring your elbows onto the floor and just rest down here a little bit. So this is nice for your lower back and stretches out any aches and pains you might get down in your lower back here. And drop down. And then we just stretch our hands forward, and this is called child's pose. And it's a really nice recovery or restorative place to be. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling stressed, this is a really good way of folding in on yourself and dropping your head down and reaching your hands forward. Feels really soothing. So notice how you feel in each of these shapes. Notice that there is an effect on your mind or your state of mind depending on how your body is organised. So this is a really safe kind of retreat kind of place, isn't it? So we're hiding away. Try and breathe nice and long and deep here. Like you're trying to fill your back, like you've got balloons here, it's where your kidneys are. So if you can imagine you're breathing here. And then bring yourself back onto your hands and your knees. And we're going to bring ourselves down onto our elbows, and this is releasing our shoulders a little bit. That's a funny one. You're going to jiggle your shoulders. So you press down and then you let them collapse. You press and lift, and your shoulder blades actually slide away from each other and then come together. So as you press down, you can feel those big plates of bone, your shoulder blades, like wings, spread away, and then they come together as you drop. Do that again, and maybe again, see if you can do the breath. So this would be breathing out. Often, when we go down, we breathe out. When we go up, we breathe in. And there we go. So as we breathe out, let that soften, and let your shoulder blades slide. And as you press away, breathe in. And notice if it feels different on one side of your back and the other, or one shoulder and the other. No one's symmetrical because we do different things with our bodies. You have a dominant side. If you write with your right hand, or if you play football and you kick mostly with your right leg, your body will be stronger on one side and weaker on the other, or tighter on one side and looser on the other. And then we're going to come back down into child's pose because it's a favourite. Drop down, drop your head. Release down into the floor. Breathe. The most energetic place, and that was very well timed because my dog just barked. It's downward dog. You're going to tuck your toes. You're going to press your hands. Hands are the width of your shoulders apart or a little bit wider. Your toes are the width of your hips apart or a little bit wider. You press down from this place, press down and lift your bottom up and drop your head. So I'm staying on my toes and I've got my knees bent, and I'm just thinking of making my spine as long as I can here. It's about your back, this pose. Lengthen out, stretch through those arms, and then stretch one heel down towards the floor and see if you can stretch out the back of your leg. and then come back onto your toe and do that on the other side. Stretch this heel down towards the floor and back onto your toes. And then both feet can come down to the floor. And here we are in a downward dog. Nice long spine. Take a good long full breath in. And a good long full breath out. One more of those. Nice long breath in. And breath out. And bring yourself down to the floor. We do something called thread the needle, because it is like a needle threading. Lift your arm out. This is nice for our shoulders. Stretch underneath and through so you can get your ear on the floor. And then this hand you can stretch to the top of your mat. You're here in this nice long spiraling twist through your spine and your neck. And then press that hand into the floor and come back up and do that on the other side. So this one lifts and then you thread under. Back of the hand comes down, shoulder feeds all the way underneath, and then you can lengthen the top hand over along above your head. And press down and come up. And sit back. We're just going to keep the toes tucked under and stretch out the base of your feet. Great. And then come down to the tops of your feet. So we're going to move through a few positions now before we rest. So we're going to breathe in and lift up so we can coordinate breath and movement. I'm going to knock into my fire. Breathe in because we're at home and it's tricky. Breathe out. This was child's pose. Drop down. Come up. And this was cat and cow. So we breathe out. And we breathe in. And then we come back to a neutral spine, somewhere in the middle. Step your hands out in front of you. You're going to drop your chest and your chin down to the floor, but keep your bum up a little bit. And then stretch the legs out and reach them long. So walk them down your mat. Then lift your chest out and just press into your hands that little bit. This is called cobra. It's like a snake coming out of a basket. Lift up. Bring your elbows underneath you. And this is a sphinx. Just like those things are at the pyramids. Look up. Bring your chest back down. Bring your hands by your ribs. Press into your hands. Come back via child's pose. And then drag your hands back up and come back to kneel. And we'll do that one more time. We're going to breathe in as we come up. We're going to breathe out as we stretch forward into child's pose. We're going to breathe in as we come up to kneel. We're going to breathe out as we go into cat. Breathe in as we come into cow. Breathe out as we come to a neutral spine. Breathe in as you step forward. Breathe out as you go down. Lengthen your legs. Breathe in as you press up. Breathe out as you come down. We're going to do that again and come up a little bit higher. So coming up, leading with your head. See if you can arch your spine back a little bit more. And then exhaling or breathing out. Come back down. Press your hands by your ribs. Come back and slot into child's pose. Drag yourself up and come to kneel. So this is like a hero pose when you're sitting back here, feeling really proud. Lift your chin, feel nice and tall. So that's it. We're going to come to our backs now. So we didn't stand up. We didn't do anything too energetic. We're going to bring ourselves back down to lie down and feel how your body is after that little bit of moving. I've got my feet planted on the floor and trying to balance my knees so I'm not going to have to put any tension in the legs. And I just want you to just close your eyes if you feel happy doing that. And I want you to think about how you feel in your legs and your lower body. And see if you can think about letting go of any tension or tightness in your feet and your toes, in your ankles and your lower legs. So just balancing there, in your thigh muscles and in your hips. just feel that you can balance the legs and allow that lower half of your body to feel really relaxed. And then if you want to lengthen your legs out, you can, or you can just keep them here. And then I want you to think about the top half of your body and think about where the sensations are in the top half of your body. So how in your belly and the whole of your abdomen and your chest, your lungs, your shoulders, how does that feel right now? And is there anywhere that you might be able to let go of some tension or some tightness? And then particularly think about your arms and your shoulders and your neck. And see if you can let go of something there. And then even think about your face, and you might bring your hands to your face and just stroke across your shoulders, across your forehead, and try and relax your face muscles. And then bring your hands down either side of you. And when you breathe in, allow your whole body to expand, and when you breathe out, allow your whole body to sink down. And I want you to think of this little phrase as you breathe. As I breathe in, I do my best. As I breathe out, I forget the rest. We're facing a lot of challenges at the moment, and we can only do our best with what there is, with what's here, with what we can do. As I breathe in, I do my best. As I breathe out, I forget the rest. And keep that with you. If you're doing this in the morning, keep it with you for your day. If you're doing this in the evening and you're going to go to sleep, have that thought with you as you rest. And you can stay here and relax for as long as you like. And if you want to get up and move, then just start wriggling somewhere, your fingers and your toes, feel your breath, maybe take a long stretch from the top to the bottom of the body, and then rolls nice and slowly onto your side, and bring yourself back up. And stay calm, and I always feel like I've got that sort of yoga fuzzy afterwards. You've got to wake yourself back up. That means you've done some good, you've got things moving, or you've released any tension that was in your body, maybe. So some of you I may see, some of you I may have already met with the work that I do with the Healthy Lifestyles team if you're local to Brighton and Hove, and also with the schools projects that Brighton and Hove offer through their public health schools. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of a taster of what yoga can be, and maybe you might try some more. And there's lots of YouTube videos around, there's lots of things you can sign into, and it is accessible, and it doesn't have to be omming and chanting and have any kind of religious connotation. Yoga can just be about you and your body and about your health, both your physical and your mental health. And it's really important that we learn to look after ourselves. Thank you.